Ever wonder what the world will look like in 2025? While we can't predict the future with certainty, we can see the major challenges different countries are facing right now, which will likely shape their next year. Let's take a trip around the globe and explore the biggest issues on the horizon. Starting in North America, the United States continues to grapple with the devastating impact of gun violence, a deeply divisive issue. To its north, Canada is facing a severe housing crisis, making it hard for many to afford a place to live, alongside ongoing efforts to address indigenous issues. Down in Mexico, the fight against drug-related violence and systemic corruption remains a primary focus. Moving to South America, Brazil is at a critical juncture, battling widespread deforestation in the Amazon and persistent social inequality. Argentina is caught in a cycle of soaring inflation and a crippling debt crisis. Meanwhile, Venezuela's profound economic and political collapse has forced millions to flee, creating a massive migration crisis across the region. And in Chile, deep-seated inequality continues to spark social unrest. Let's cross the Atlantic to Europe. The United Kingdom is wrestling with a severe cost of living crisis and a healthcare system under immense strain. In Germany, an aging society and the integration of migrants are top concerns. France is dealing with significant social unrest and high youth unemployment, while Italy struggles under the weight of massive public debt and a stagnant job market. Further east, Russia is feeling the bite of international sanctions and increasing internal repression. And tragically, Ukraine is still enduring the horrific consequences of war and mass displacement. Spain is facing a double whammy of severe drought and persistent youth unemployment. In Scandinavia, even prosperous nations have their issues. Sweden is tackling a rise in gang-related crime, while Switzerland's stability is challenged by an incredibly high cost of living. The Netherlands has a critical housing shortage, and Poland is dealing with deep political polarization. Now, let's turn to Asia. China, the world's second-largest economy, is confronting a demographic challenge with its rapidly aging population, alongside rising regional tensions. In neighboring Japan, a declining population and economic stagnation have been persistent issues for years. India faces a monumental task, creating enough jobs for its massive young population. Over in South Korea, the constant security threat from the north is a daily reality, compounded by one of the world's lowest birth rates. Southeast Asia has its own set of hurdles. Indonesia is fighting deforestation and the frequent threat of natural disasters. The Philippines is also vulnerable to natural calamities and continues to deal with the fallout from its war on drugs. Vietnam is working to combat environmental pollution and corruption, while Thailand navigates political instability and growing inequality. In Myanmar, a devastating civil war continues with no end in sight. In the Middle East, the situation remains complex. Iran is under heavy sanctions, leading to economic hardship and widespread protests. Saudi Arabia is trying to diversify its economy away from oil, but faces challenges with youth unemployment and human rights. War-torn nations like Syria and Yemen are experiencing unimaginable humanitarian crises marked by conflict, hunger, and displacement. Iraq still struggles with instability, and Lebanon is in the midst of a total economic collapse. Finally, let's look at Africa. South Africa is battling extremely high rates of crime and unemployment. Nigeria, the continent's most populous nation, is dealing with widespread insecurity and poverty. In East Africa, Ethiopia is trying to recover from a brutal ethnic conflict and famine. Kenya is fighting corruption, and down in Zimbabwe, hyperinflation and political repression are crushing the economy. Across the Sahel region, countries like Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are facing a terrifying surge in terrorism and displacement. And in the Democratic Republic of Congo, ongoing conflict and disease outbreaks create a constant state of emergency. From the Americas to Asia, from Europe to Africa, every nation is facing its own unique set of trials. These problems are interconnected, complex, and require a global effort to solve. Understanding these challenges is the first step toward finding solutions and building a better, more stable world for everyone. Thanks for watching. If you found this global overview insightful, Make sure to subscribe to Data Focus Official for more deep dives into the data that shapes our world. See you next time.